Bang. Neve's knife. Like, it's Neve's knife, like Jared said it. Never mind. If you're watching on headphones, turn down the volume because here comes some music. Mike from the future here, just jumping in to remind you guys, I have merch in the merch store, coffee cups, jackets. I always forget to grab the coffee cup. Customizable t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodie sweatshirts with the zippers, all kinds of stuff. So if you want, check out the merch store down below. I'd really appreciate it. It helps support the channel. So, all right, back to Mike from the past. All right, guys, I never thought that I was actually going to do this. This is a knife that I previously owned. I had one of these knives in the past, was not happy with it. I owned one of them. I paid through the nose for it because they were really limited and difficult to get. And I was not happy with it. It was I called it my first non-flipping flipper and for what I paid for it. So this is a very beautiful Hinderer XM18. So let's go ahead and do some talk about it. Like I said, I had one of these and I paid a lot of money for it because at the time they were really limited. I was still working for the government. So they were only available to law enforcement and military at the time, limited quantities. I bought one on the secondary market. You would have to go back and find a video where I talk about it for me to even remember, but I know that I paid upwards of $800 for it on the secondary market. And then it came and it just, like the action on it did not do what I wanted. It just was not anything I was happy with, and I wound up selling it and I got raked over to coals and it did not get out of it what I had into it. There's a couple of knives like that. But in the last couple of years, I have seen some of these and the action on these has gotten to the point where they are amazing. This has got some really good action. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about this. Please if you got on in the comments, please don't drop price points and things like that, even if someone asks, because I try to keep myself away from seeing the actual price of the knife until I do the full-on review. It helps me be a little more even when it comes to the review. So what we're gonna look at is an incredibly beautiful knife. I am gonna mention a couple things about it since this is just first impressions, but so much better than the first one I ever had. The action on this is amazing. So let's go ahead and we'll go down to the mat and we'll do some first impressions on this Hinderer XM18 with this carved scale. So meet you down there. So what are we looking at here? So this is a Hinderer XM18 with, I call these the horsey Hinderers. I saw some of these at the show. I've never had one long enough that I could actually carry it. I still have a couple issues with the Hinderer knives in general. There's a couple small things. The pocket clip is not such a showstopper, but for me, it's kind of a hot spot. I'm noticing that, and it's got a bit of a rattle, but that's not such a big deal because so far in and out of pants pockets, it does not seem to be an issue. Jimping is not super aggressive. I don't usually like having that jimping there on the finger, on the relief for the lock bar. But on this one, like I said, it's not so sharp. One of the issues I have is the way that sits in my hand, that really digs into my hand. This is one of those knives that kind of feels like it forces my hand up in there. Not a showstopper because I don't think I might be doing a lot of heavy use on this knife, but I will say fit and finish on this is gorgeous. Now, Jared knows me pretty well, and I think he knew that what I was about to mention would be an issue. So I'm gonna pull this out and put it in my pocket over here. I have a little issue with this. This is sharp. Like all of that engraving is not chamfered at all. It's really sharp, but it makes it look clean and crisp and you get those sharp lines. But I will tell you, they are sharp points on that. Let's zoom in and I'll show you. There's some fairly sharp points, as you can see right there in the mane of that horse and things like that. But it is gorgeous. So Jared, knowing me, sent along my Carta scale with a steel liner. So not going to be so much of an issue. I may put that on for carry and then put this back on for the video because I want to give this an honest shot. Like I said, I was very disappointed with the one I purchased because it did not do that. You had to, if you could even do it at all, wrist flick the ever-living shnikes out of it. You had to really wrist flick it, and sometimes even then. And I mean, no matter how much oil and stuff I put in it, it just did not work. So what I'm curious about is I haven't had one of these newer ones apart. I want to see what he's done internally that's different, because people tell me it has a different style of pivot and things like that. And I do know that he does make washers and bearings for these knives, I believe, that you can then have, you know, washers or bearings, whichever way you want. I do like the fact that it is a Phillips head pivot. This actually had a little bit of blade play when it came to me from Jared. I tightened that down, and I was like, oh, that explains why the action's so good. The pivot's all sloppy and loose, and I tightened it down. There is no blade play. It is rock solid, bank vault solid, and it is still just drop shutty and everything. This one is the XM18 in USA 20 CPM 20 CV. Rick has always done a good job with the edges, the steel, the heat treat. Like I said, my only issue with it has been historically mine did not work, and I've seen a bunch of other ones that didn't flip. I have had some other ones come in that the action on them was good. I'm still just not a fan of that flipper tab per se. It is a little sharp, and it digs into the, if you've got, you can see right there, even I've got tough knife maker fingers, it digs into your finger. It's pretty sharp. It's one of those ones that like there is no real good way to do it without having to get on that point. And if you've got weak fingers, that could be painful. So all the hardware and everything on this done incredibly well. Rick makes a hell of a good knife. Like I said, and I have seen some of his slippies, the slip joint ones that look a lot like this, and they are nice as well. So this, like I said, just real quick first impressions, clean, crisp, really nice fit and finish. That milling, it's striking, it's eye-catching, and it is really, really attractive. I just wish, like, if it wasn't, it wouldn't look the same if it had been chamfered. So I understand why, but like you can hear it, listen. You can actually see it, it's catching calluses on my fingers. So, you know, big scope of things. A lot of people buy these and then they just hold on to them as showpieces. I'm not that guy, but I can say it looks nice. So let's go ahead and we'll get some blade thickness on this, and we'll get some size comparisons real quick. Just real quick. I'll do it in the final review as well, but you know, may as well. I've got the tools for it. I've got it at 0. Blade thickness on this, I'm not gonna look up any specs, 0.1. I'm imagining it's about 165-ish, maybe 167. 165. 0.165 is just about pretty standard. 166. That's a pretty much standard blade thickness. That's not out of the norm for, let's look at how thick it is. This is a little bit thicker of a knife. Let's look at how thick it is overall. Let's say 0.53 inches overall thickness across the back. So, and then for those of you that are in millimeters, let's go ahead and do that in millimeters, because while we've got it, may as well. Mode, millimeters, and 0's close enough. That's 13.4 millimeters for across the back thickness, and then 4.2 millimeters for blade stock thickness. So that way I don't have to measure things, because I'm not good at measuring. You guys have seen me try to use a ruler. I'm not good at it. So let's see, overall, we're looking just about 8¼ inches. So let's do a couple blade to blade comparisons compared to the Sebenza. You're looking just about the same, maybe a tiny bit difference, but it's a bigger, thicker knife, and it does have that curve that makes it look a little different. And then for those of you that are Benchmade fans, there is a Benchmade 940. Let's get some parallax out of the way. They're just about the same. And the big boy that I've got out here, The Endura is just a little bit bigger, not a lot, just a little bit. There's some parallax for you guys. Let me lean you in so you can see it directly from above. There's not a lot of difference, but I mean, this is definitely the biggest of the three. Let's lean back, and I will meet you guys back in front of the counter to do some final thoughts. So, like I was saying, guys, a lot of guys would get this, and then this would be something that they would probably not use because of the attractiveness. Now, I am going to use all of these knives that Jared sent me, which means I am going to put that micarta scale on there probably today, because this one and the Spartan Harsey that I filmed earlier are going to be the first two that I actually carry and do some stuff on. I am going to do some first impressions on the other ones in the next few days, but the fact is, these were the ones that really stood out to me in that set of stuff. And I imagine those are going to be the ones you want to see. So we are going to do a what's inside on this knife, because I'm curious. I want to see what things have changed in this. I know that he changed his pivot system and things like that. So I'm curious. I've never had one apart. I will tell you, such a beast of a workhorse knife. I'm telling you right now that in hand, if that wasn't digging into my finger, that it's just, actually, if I get it in the right position, that is a good angle for doing work and cutting. And like I said, it's just gorgeous. And I've never seen a flaw in any of Rick's blade grinds. Never. So this isn't too, this is thinner than the Spartan behind the edge, but I'm going to see how it cuts. But I'm telling you right now, this thing is aggressively sharp. So we'll see how all of that goes when we do the full review. Guys, I love you all. Mike from the future and Mike from the past is going to start making presentations so that I don't forget to plug the merch store, so you won't have to listen to it here at the end. If you guys like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down, but please tell me why. Just giving me a thumbs down does not give me any constructive feedback, especially if you're a paying member. I need to know what you guys want, because truly you are my customers. I'm going to put stuff in the corner. You know I'm going to plug Neve's knives in this, because these knives are on loan from him. If you really like the videos, there is an applause button down below where you can donate money on that video just to the channel. It's like Super Chat for pre-recorded videos. And if you want to help support the channel, there is a membership tab below where you can just go ahead and join on a monthly membership. I do exclusive content. I do giveaways to the members. You get access to all the videos the moment they go up for a period of time before I set them as premieres. And so you'll get to see some behind the scenes stuff. I also have a sharpening tutorial series that's on there that I'm going to shoot some more of. I have to do one more video for the actual sharpening, and then we'll get into some of the other outside steps like honing and touch-ups and things like that. So guys, I love you all. Take care of yourselves. Keep it clean in the comments section, please. And I will see you in the next video. Here comes the members.